This is Orange Nation Overtime with Steve Infante and Paulie Sevilla.
Welcome into Orange Nation Overtime, everyone. Alongside Mario Sacco today, I'm Steve Infante. Paulie had the day off, and a lot to get to on the show, Mario, as we start with SU men's basketball. It's an important one tomorrow for the men against Notre Dame, not so much with the NCAA tournament resume. I mean, that's beside the point right now. They need a win, and they got to put an end to this losing streak. And if they lose this game tomorrow, this streak could go on for a while. They've got Virginia and North Carolina both on the road coming up next. They need a win badly.
Yeah, and it starts with the play of their guards, with Nathan George and J.J. Starling having to play well. Notre Dame is a team that gave Virginia all they could handle, falling to them in double overtime. Shrewsbury can shoot the basketball. We've seen what he's been able to do in the Dome. They need to be able to defend a three-point line and stop the straight-line drive, something that they haven't been able to do during this four-game losing streak. And it's hard to believe in Jim Boeheim's tenure, he never lost 5 games. You have to go back to the 1968-69 season for the last time an SU men's basketball team lost 5 games in a row. And if they do that against Notre Dame, that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, and then again, we see what the schedule looks like after that. I mean, the month of February is a gauntlet. They really need a win to get back on track here. This is an opponent that lost its best player in Marcus Burton at the beginning of December, but now they've had 6 weeks or so to play without him. They're starting to play better. You mentioned that Virginia game the other day. They led by 19 in the first half, and Virginia just kept chipping away. Virginia did win the game in double overtime, but it seems like anytime Syracuse and Notre Dame play, it's close, and I would imagine, given the way SU's playing right now, this one's probably going to be close tomorrow.
Yeah, it's hard to blow a 19-point lead. That was Virginia's largest comeback. It tied for their largest comeback in program history. But what do you want to see, Steve, against a Notre Dame team? You want to see Donnie play well, but more importantly, you want to see this defense get its identity back, not being able to give up 80 points, which they've given up 4 out of the last 5 games. You want to see them be able to hold a Notre Dame team into the 60s and win a game like that.
Yeah, defense is definitely what I've got my eye on tomorrow. They've gotten away from their identity from early in the season, that aggressive, in-your-face defense. They've certainly gotten away from that here as the season has moved along. Got to get back to that against Notre Dame and get back on track. As for the women, they picked up a nice bounce-back win last night against Georgia Tech, coming off the overtime loss to North Carolina, and it was a game that, they came out ready to play. And, Tim Leonard was in here yesterday, and he said, as long as Syracuse beats the teams they're supposed to beat, they should be fine for the NCAA tournament. This was one of those games last night, a team that they should beat, and they came out with a 9-0 run right out of the gate. They came focused, they came ready to play, and they played very well.
Yeah, and a team in Georgia Tech that beat Notre Dame that we think is one of the better teams in the ACC, but SU women didn't have any trouble scoring points. 94 they put up in their win over Georgia Tech, and just how good. We talk about the transfers that she brought in with Layla Felia and Dominique Darius and the experience that they have. Well, Felia goes out and scores 23 last night, and Darius chips in, with what she chipped in. She had 20, and Uche Azoje every night. You know what you're getting now out of Uche Azoje. Another double-double for her, and she's just been fantastic.
Speaking of Tim Leonard, he appeared on our Orange Nation radio show today to talk both women's basketball and men's lacrosse. The men's lacrosse opener, of course, Sunday in the Dome against Boston University. So we're going to play back that segment for you now. Informative stuff for Tim, who calls games for both of those teams, beginning with, again, what was a nice bounce-back win for the ladies as they remain in 4th place in the ACC right now.
Yeah, Coach Jack has really been on the team to get off to better starts. They've changed some things up in practice in the last couple weeks, and I thought that was a really encouraging sign for the team. They scored the first 9 points of the game, like you said, and really everyone shined in that game last night. And this team really is just clicking on all cylinders right now. It was a 94-70 victory over Georgia Tech, and you look at the quote-unquote big 3 of the team, which is Layla Felia, who went for 23 points and also had 7 steals in the game last night. She had 6 steals in the first half. And then Uche Azoje, who is just ho-hum, another double-double, 17 points, 15 rebounds, blocks 4 shots as well. And then Dominique Darius, I think that's been a big part of this stretch that they're on right now, playing their best basketball of the season. Dom hit that 3 against Cal in triple overtime, and she said herself, I think this could be kind of my breakthrough moment, because she was struggling a little bit for her standards before that. And since that 3, she scored about 20 points in every game. She had 26 against Stanford, 19 against UNC, and 20 more points last night. So if those 3 players are all playing well in one game, this is going to be a very tough team to beat.
When you look at Layla, and you talk about how well Dom has been playing Uche every game, you don't even have to talk about her because it seems to be every game. How important is it for Layla to, you have that experience with her and what she brings to this basketball team, to rely on someone that you haven't had, that you didn't have last year in a Layla Filia this year with this women's team?
Yeah, I was thinking about the other day to make a comparison to the men's team. We talked about, I think it was Matt Park brought up that there are some players on the men's team that are from power conference schools, and they've done a good job in the transfer portal, but they don't have anyone that went deep into the tournament necessarily. There's no one that's really been like a proven winner, and they're bringing that culture to the men's team. Layla has been to the tournament pretty much every year of her college career and went deep into the tournament with Michigan a couple times as their star player. And then last year she was hurt at Texas, but she was still around a winning team. So I think that is maybe underrated, or maybe something that we didn't discuss enough when we looked at the team and evaluated them in the preseason, that they have Layla Filia, who has been deep into a tournament. Dominique Darius didn't necessarily play for UCLA and USC, or wasn't a key role, but she was still around the winning culture. And it feels like their player leadership is really strong right now. If someone needs to step up and say something in game, Layla, Dom, whoever it is, will come and say something. And it just, you get a good vibe around the team. And I'm lucky I get to travel with the team and stuff. And there wasn't a great vibe last year, probably because they were losing, right? And it's easier to have a good vibe when you're winning games. But I did feel like from the outset of this season, they had the right player leadership. They had the right energy. And that's what the coaches have said to me from day one that gave them confidence in this team, that there is a good sort of vibe and camaraderie amongst the team.
So there's that big 3, right? Azoje, Darius, Filia. Sophie Burrows has been an important piece, and obviously what she brings to the table and the threat of the three-point shot. Of those 3, though, who's the most important player on this team?
I would say Uche Azoje, because to me, the biggest difference has been her staying out of foul trouble when you go back to how they were playing in non-conference play. And that was my concern with the team. I remember calling the games a lot in non-conference play, that we're going to be saying foul trouble a lot with Uche, and that's going to determine how good Syracuse is going to play in games. And now she's kind of gotten rid of that problem, and I think the coaching staff has done a better job with monitoring the foul trouble as well. So to me, if one player were to get hurt, which you don't want to think about it that way, but like if one player was out of the game because of foul trouble, I think Uche impacts the game so much on both ends. And she really just draws a lot of defensive attention now, too, that frees up the guards. So I think she's the most important player on the team. But all 3 of them are obviously playing great right now. Is
the foul trouble and the fact she's gotten better with that, is that because she's adjusting and to the American game and she just wasn't used to it? I mean, is that a thing?
That's what Coach Jack has told me, yeah. I mean, she would get a lot of moving screens, a lot of just sort of ticky-tacky fouls, and she was confused by why she was getting called for moving screens as often as she was. I think it was the first 10, 12 games of the season. Every game she had a moving screen. She hasn't had one of those in probably 5, 6 games, off the top of my head at least. So I think she's gotten a lot smarter, and she's just understanding the American game more.
When you look at the ceiling for this team, we see, and Coach Jack talked about it in our pregame before they played Georgia Tech, about we're not looking, we don't care about being projected 8th. We want to tell our story. But realistically, you see this team. They've lost to a Virginia Tech team that's, I think, rattled off 6 straight wins or something like that. For some odd reason, they can't beat teams in North Carolina. That seems to be Coach Jack's, bugaboo. Realistically, where does this team sit, do you think? Can they win an NCAA tournament game?
Yeah, I think they can. I said it last night that all year we've talked about this team as the conversation is, can they get back to the NCAA tournament? And are they going to be a bubble team throughout the year? And nationally speaking, they're picked to finish 13th in the conference. No one had them in the NCAA tournament field at the start of the year, just looking at the roster. So everyone was kind of monitoring Syracuse from a national lens in the non-conference play. They're thinking, all right, it's kind of a soft schedule. Let's see what they do when they get into ACC play. And they started popping up on bracketology right around the start of ACC play. And I feel like the conversation is going to shift in the next couple weeks. The way they're playing right now, the conversation is going to shift to, could this be a hosting team versus could this be a team that is fighting for the bubble? And there's basically two bubbles in women's basketball. If you're a top 16 team, you're hosting, top 4 seed in each region. So obviously, they've got a little bit of a ways to go to get there, but the way they're playing right now feels to me like a 5 or a 6 seed and not a team that's a borderline bubble team.
And do you think that they could be that team because your Louisvilles and your NC States aren't as strong? I'm not saying they're not good programs, but aren't as strong as they have been.
Yeah, I mean, they get Louisville at home, which is going to be a very interesting measuring stick game in a way. That's coming up. They only have 3 more home games, but you look on, and they're all weekend Sunday games now. So hopefully they'll draw good crowds because they deserve it right now the way they're playing. But you look at Bart Torvik right now. They simulate all the games. They're projected to finish 22-7 in the regular season, 12-6 in ACC play. I mean, that would probably, if anything, catapult you up from the 8 line to maybe the 7 or the 6 line. And I'd like to think that they could maybe flip some of those games. I mean, they do have 3 games that are very tough that they're projected to lose. But maybe if they keep playing like this and then they go into the ACC tournament, they go on a little bit of a run, you could get to the point where you're at least a fringe hosting team, which would be amazing.
Real quick before we get into men's lacrosse, they've got Miami next on the road Sunday. Miami is about a 500 team in conference play, right? And almost a quad 1, just on the outside of a quad 1 opportunity. What can you tell us about this Hurricanes team they're going to see Sunday?
Yeah, this is a big game. Miami is 48 in the net. They're a good team. I mean, they played a tough schedule, and Syracuse should be favored in this game. But in general, this is going to be a pretty good test for them to go down there and see what they have and see if they keep playing like they have in the last 5 games. To me, they'll beat Miami by 8 to 10 points, but they're also playing at a level that's kind of hard to sustain in a way. So I think obviously they're going to try and double team and triple team Uche Azoje, and Syracuse should have a size advantage against Miami. So that's something to watch in the matchup. But I think they should be able to go down there and just keep playing the way they are and get another win, which would be great.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk men's lacrosse. The opener, 1 o'clock on Sunday against Boston U. What do we need to know about this team?
Boston U is good. Or you want to talk about Syracuse?
I was going to say about Syracuse, but if you want to mention BU, you can.
Yeah, Syracuse is going to be very exciting again. They obviously have a lot of their key guys back. They lost Owen Hiltz at the attack line. That's a notable loss. They lost Sam English as one of their top midfielders. So there's some question marks personnel-wise. I would say the most notable thing that I'll be looking for from a personnel standpoint is the attack line, and specifically that third attack spot. We know, unfortunately, Trey Deer is likely out for the season. Gary Gate put it. So we're not expecting Trey Deer to play lacrosse this year for Syracuse. He probably would have filled into that starting attack line. So you've got Joey Spallina, who's a senior now and who's the number 1 player in the country, according to Inside Lacrosse. You've got Peyton Anderson, who was really exciting at the end of last year, gives them an athletic guy on the attack line that can really dodge. And then Michael Leo is a first-team All-American midfielder that I'm hearing has been going down to attack a little bit, and they're contemplating maybe putting him at that third attack spot. And he has played some attack, obviously going back to his high school days, and he's played some attack for Syracuse already. So that would make sense to me. But I'm just interested how the attack line will gel if they go with Leo, or do they look, you could put Finn Thompson down there, who's more of like an inside finisher. So that'll be interesting to monitor. And as far as BU, I mean, this will be a pretty good test in the opening game. And the schedule is, as we know, a complete gauntlet again, even more so than a typical Gary Gate men's lacrosse schedule.
Joey's approaching the record books here at Syracuse. And you've seen kind of the progression that he's made. And last year it was, he couldn't, come alive in big games and all what he do, big games in the NCAA tournament. It kind of flipped the switch. How does he take his game to the next level this year? Is there a next level in his game?
Yeah, I think for him, he's kind of just got to keep doing what he's doing, and he'll keep proving like the haters wrong that don't believe in him necessarily. I have heard that in preseason and everything, they feel like he has taken his game to the next level. What that means, I'm not really sure, because we know he's not the most athletic top attack line guy ever, but he's such a cerebral player, and he just helps you in so many ways in terms of his lacrosse IQ and his vision. So if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's definitely going to leave here with the record for most points in a Syracuse uniform. He needs 62 points this year, which he had 89 points last year. And I would imagine, if anything, he tops that if Syracuse goes on a deep run again, like they did the Final Four last year. So it's hard to really say, like, what's that next step for him?
Win a title.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? And he's been honest about that. He said, that's all I care about. And you love that as your leader. And I think he's had that mindset all along, but he's got to be so hungry to get to that finish line, because that was his goal when he came to Syracuse, and they've sort of ticked off every box to this point but the national title.
If you had a question mark coming into the season about this SU men's lacrosse team, would it be, how do you replace a guy like Sam English? Would it be defensively, besides, Billy Dwan and those guys back there? What is your question mark with this team? Going
back to the attack line, I'm maybe a little bit worried about, do they have enough outside shooting on the attack line? Owen Hiltz was a guy that he was a sniper.
Send lasers.
Yeah, I mean, so you lose that. And honestly, last year, that was a talking point when the team was struggling. They lacked dodging a little bit on the attack line. They lacked that outside shooter. And that's when they had Owen Hiltz. Owen Hiltz wasn't an incredible dodger, but he was another great lacrosse player, of course, that you just knew was going to get 5-6 points pretty much every game. He literally scored at least 1 point in every game of a Syracuse career. So that would be a concern offensively. I mean, Michael Leo can shoot it from the outside, and obviously all these guys can shoot it from the outside, but do they have that, like, true sniper that a lot of the top teams in America have, is maybe a little bit of a question mark. And then interested in the defense, too, because that third close defense spot will be interesting.
All right, last question as we wrap up the lacrosse talk. When you look around the country, we say it's, championship or bust this year for Joey Spallina and that class, and the program in general just feels like it's time. Who are the teams you have an eye on as the biggest threats, I guess, for Syracuse?
I mean, you got to mention Maryland right off the top. Maryland's number one in the preseason poll. They should be. And John Tillman has never lost to Syracuse. He's never lost to Gary Gate. And that feels like the team that Syracuse has to conquer if they want to get to the mountaintop of the sport. We'll get to see them square off in the regular season very early on Friday the 13th of February, third game of the year for Syracuse. Maryland does not play this week, apparently, because they're snowed out or the weather is impacting their game against Richmond. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting how those two match up. Outside of that, it's the teams really that Syracuse went through last year. I mean, Princeton, they beat in the quarterfinal round. Princeton brings back pretty much everyone. So a lot of the sites have Princeton number 2 in the country or number 3, kind of right there with Syracuse. Cornell, we should give them a shout out because they're local. They're the defending champs, but they lost CJ Kirsch, of course. And Ryan Goldstein's back, but not a ton else. So I think Cornell is going to be fascinating. They're probably more like in that next tier, 5th or 6th in the polls, but still definitely worth mentioning. And UNC in the ACC is going to be better than they have been recently. So it's probably going to be Syracuse, UNC at the top of the ACC, would be my guess.
That's Tim Leonard, and expectations sky high for this SU men's lacrosse team, ranked 3rd in the Inside Lacrosse preseason poll. It all gets started on Sunday, and it does feel like it's a Final Four bust, certainly, but championship or bust for this senior class.
Yeah, and talking with those guys, that's definitely what it is. They're not going to be satisfied until they're raising a trophy at the end of the season and it being a national championship one, not just an ACC one. And Joey Spallina has an opportunity to move into the record books. But I want to see guys like, Finn Thompson, what he does. And in net, can Jimmy McCool have another great year like he did last year?
All right. The women, meanwhile, they open things up a week from today, right? And they've got a very difficult schedule. They've got a new head coach to boot, Reggie Thorpe, and he appeared on the Orange Nation radio show this afternoon, and we let him off just asking about his emotions, his excitement to be back at his alma mater, to be the head coach of the SU women's lacrosse program, and how he's feeling with the season about to start in a week.
Just super pumped to be back at Syracuse and having a great staff and team to work with, and the players and the family, and to be back in the community and opening up a week from today against Maryland. So we're pumped on our end, excited to get going.
Reggie, the physical makeup of your team this year, what are we going to see out of a Syracuse women's lacrosse team that we might not have seen over the last couple of years under Kayla Traynor?
I think it's, Syracuse lacrosse. We want to get up. We want to run, running, 2 to 3 lines of middies and getting after teams defensively. Offensively, sharing the ball and play fast when we can.
You know, you talk about Syracuse lacrosse. The schedule is certainly Syracuse lacrosse, right? First 3 games, all against top 7 opponents in the country. And we've gotten used to this since Gary Gate was the head coach of the women's program, that, you know, year in and year out, Syracuse tends to play the toughest teams in the country. It seems like you've got that same philosophy. Can you speak to, I guess, your philosophy in terms of scheduling and playing as difficult a regular season as possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great challenge for us. The ACC sets the schedule, so those first, we open up with Maryland out of conference, then we go ACC, UNC, and then Stanford. So it's a little out of our hands, but it's the way it felt. But our kids are excited about the challenge and excited for the opportunity.
Steve talked about Gary a little bit there. What's it been like being back around him and bouncing ideas, so to say, between you guys?
It's been fun. It was a great 10 years working with Gary and our women's program, and it's been awesome to see what he's done with the men's program last few years, and I'm excited to watch them, hopefully take the next step in their program. But it's been great just collaborating and helping each other out, and it's been fun and some good laughs, and certainly a great person to bounce ideas off of.
Can you talk about your journey a little bit from, playing at Jordan Elbridge and, working your way through Herkimer into Syracuse as a player, and now, coming back again after, working with Gary and now being the head coach here? Just kind of start to finish, this game's opened up a lot of doors for you, and what a journey it's been.
Yeah, I mean, from Jordan Elbridge High School, like you said, but the community's great. Had an opportunity, to go to Syracuse, need a little extra work in the classroom, so went to Herkimer and was very fortunate to play for Hall of Fame coach Paul Wareham, who molded me as a player, as a student, on and off the field, and then helped me get to live my dream to play 21 minutes from my house in the Dome. So, but then to come back, coaching here has been unbelievable. Family super excited, the community super excited, and we hope to put a good product on the field.
How did that time away from being here kind of shape who you are?
Yeah, I think just develop it. I think as myself as a coach, 10 years here with Gary, the last 4 years with Coach Mandy O'Leary at the University of Florida. 2 different coaches, but 2 highly successful. They're both one of the Hall of Fame, on the women's coaching side. So the work for 2 Hall of Fame coaches was great, and just to mentor different perspectives and different things you pick up. And then it's been great to put my own twists and ideas on things. But fortunate to have those 2 good mentors, especially the last 4 years, and then coming back to Syracuse.
The preseason polls were released recently. Your team checks in at number 11. Do you like that it's not a top 5 preseason ranking that you got, that maybe you and your players can head into the season with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder?
I think we don't know what we're going to get with this team. It's a great group. They've been doing well, really adjusting to our principles and our systems with Coach Kaylin, Coach Maggie, and Coach Nicole. And you never know. Each year is different to different. Sometimes you return a ton of players and you don't have the season you want. Sometimes you got some new faces, and so it's been good. We got some kids with some good experience, and then some kids ready to take the next step. So we're just excited. Preseason's preseason. I mean, they're forecasting on how you're going to do this year, but certainly we'll have a little chip on our shoulder. But we got something to prove, and we got to earn everything.
How much are you going to rely on the Emma Munchnicks and the Caroline Trinkuses and so on to kind of help you through this first month of the season with the new team?
Yeah, I think Emma and Trink are 2, very high-level players, but I also think we got a lot of kids who got some good experience last year, and I think are ready to take the next step. And I do think from game to game, you might see 2 or 3 different players stepping up each game, along with Emma and Caroline. So I think it's certainly going to be by committee on the offensive end, and real excited about that. And the kids have been sharing the ball in preseason, and hopefully we can put it together next Friday.
One player that the program lost is Emma Ward. She's out of eligibility from what I understand, still on campus, still around, still finishing up her degree, still around the team. I mean, what's it been like? I guess having her around and kind of bridging the gap maybe with some of the returning players, and you coming back here as a first year head coach. How important has she been as this season's about to get started?
It's been awesome. I actually recruited Emma and never got a chance to coach her. Was gone by then, but it's been great. She's working in a manager role for us, finishing up her master's degree. It's been great to have her around. She's been a great extra hand for us to assist in things, and she's been great with the players. She got a great coach's eye, but it's been great for her. She's helping us just some of the manager roles with the film and scout and assisting in some drills in there. So it's been great to have her around. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been great spending time with her.
We're running a little short here on time, Coach, but just do you have any sort of message for the fans? What can they expect in terms of style of play and in terms of coming out and supporting you and the team here as you get things started? Any sort of final message you want to share?
Yeah, I think we're going to put a great product on the field. I think it's a gritty bunch. They're not going to quit. This group is really hardworking, blue collar, really embraces that Syracuse toughness, and we're excited to showcase and get people in the stands and put a good product on the field for the fans.
That's the new head coach of the SU women's program, Reggie Thorpe. We keep talking about the men open up on Sunday. The ladies actually have a scrimmage, an exhibition game, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. So when the basketball game is over tomorrow, they'll immediately switch that over into a lacrosse facility. The women have an exhibition against Niagara, 9 a.m., and then the men play at 1 o'clock. The women open with, talk about jumping right in. They've got Maryland, North Carolina, Stanford, as we talk with Reggie Thorpe about right off the bat.
Yeah, and you're going to get tested right away, and he's not shying away from anyone. He says, partly because of how good the ACC is, a lot of those, you're throwing Stanford into the ACC, so you're going to play a tough schedule. But I want to see what is different with this women's team under him compared to Kayla. Because, let's face it, the talent is there. It's can you go out and get over that hump now, and maybe they're going to surprise some people being 11th in the country.
It is a jam-packed weekend. Men's basketball tomorrow, 6 o'clock against Notre Dame. Men's and women's lacrosse on Sunday. The women have the exhibition. The men have the regular season opener. And then the women's basketball team on the road in Miami as they continue to play awfully well, sitting in fourth place right now in the ACC conference. So busy weekend for you at Channel 9, and I'll be at the Notre Dame game tomorrow.
Not to hit my head off, opening a garage door lately.
Yeah, I'm glad you're okay, by the way. All right, we got to go. We're out of time. For Mario, I'm Steve. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.